Hey, Way Home family on YouTube. Today we are going to talk about the 3D, the 4D, and the 5D. And this video was inspired by my dear brother and fellow facilitator here at the Way Home, Jason. He asked me, why don't you ever really talk about the 4D? What's the deal? Is there no 4D? Do we go from 3D to 5D? So I'm going to cover that today. And the way I like to explain it, what I said to him at the time was, the three-dimensional experience, the three-dimensional perspective is similar to we as humans, and I'm going to use you as an example. You are walking through a lush green field, and up ahead, not too far away, you see a sprig of yellow on a tall stem. And as you approach, your mind begins. What is it? Am I going to like it? Is it going to hurt me? You just see this thing and you go into what's going to happen. But as you get there, you notice that there is a plant. There is this green tall stem with a yellow sprig at the end of it. And then the mind goes into, is it a flower? Is it a weed? Is it beautiful? Is it ugly? Is it dangerous? Can it assist me or improve my experience or give me joy? So again, the mind is continually at work. And eventually in the 3D perspective, oftentimes depending on the day you're having, oftentimes depending on what the last person you were talking to laid on you, depending on where you are in here, you decide that it's a flower or it's a weed. And either way, you're going to take it. If it's a flower, you're thrilled. You want to take it home. You want to put it in a vase. You want to have it add value to your environment. You want it to make you smile. You have all these expectations and attachments to bringing it home and having it give you pleasure. And on the other hand, if maybe you weren't having such a great day and you saw the sprig of yellow on this tall stem, you said, that's a weed. It's going to harm the grass around it. Let me pluck it out and throw it in the trash because it's awful. It's going to do awful things. And this is the 3D realm of the senses. This is the 3D world of duality in which we live. It's where most people abide. It is marked by duality in the form of past and future. It also contains a whole lot of judgment, attachment, and expectation. The compulsive mind is running 24/7. There's very few breaks in the record, and the majority of what is being contemplated revolves around judgment, attachment, and expectation. That's the 3D realm. And there is absolutely a 4D realm. The 4D realm is where we land on our way to the fifth dimension. In the 4D realm, it tends to be transient and temporary. We are transitioning from what I just described with regard to duality to the fifth dimension, which is hallmarked by singularity. But in the interim, we're in this temporary, oftentimes very short-lived space called the 4D, where you, the same person, are walking through a beautiful field of green. Up ahead, you see a sprig of yellow on a tall stem. Your mind might try to figure out what it is you're about to approach, but you're not really giving your mind any say or any merit. The rumblings might be there, but you're not really listening or paying attention. And as you approach, you see what you see, and you continue on your way without judgment, without feeling compelled to intervene, and with no expectation that that yellow sprig at the end of that tall green stem has anything to do with you except for the moment in which you walked by it. You continue on your way at peace in a balanced center, and that is the fourth dimension. The hallmark of the fourth dimension is duality is beginning to recede. We're no longer necessarily viewing things through the prism of right or wrong, good or bad, high or low, black or white, red or blue. We're really coming to a much more neutral place and space in our heart and in our mind. And it allows us to walk through our life experience without taking events personally, without feeling compelled to intervene and alter the course of another person, thing, or scenario's journey. We're just a very neutral experience. We're a very neutral energy having a very neutral experience. That is the fourth dimension. It doesn't last for a really long time. That's why I think we don't really hear about it, even in the more popular culture around spirituality and metaphysics. But then we have the fifth dimension. And the fifth dimension is hallmarked by, as I shared, this sense of singularity, of things having been returned, of duality, understanding the tool that it was, but leaving it on the shelf where it belongs when it no longer is of service, and reconnecting, remembering ourselves to our primal nature and the primary energy force. That's the fifth dimension. So if you live in the five, if you are a person who holds a five perspective, you're walking along in this field of green, and suddenly you're standing next to a sprig of yellow on a tall stem. You didn't see it before because you were really just paying attention to where you were in the moment. But suddenly in your present moment, there is this yellow sprig on a tall green stem. And while you have no compulsion to judge it, while you can stand there and simply appreciate its presence because it said yes and it came here just like you did, it has value and worth solely because it's there. The neutrality is gone insofar as it isn't a flower, it isn't a weed. In fact, it isn't even any other thing. It is you, just as the field is you, just as the sky above is you. And because it's you, you want to feed it, nourish it, and be of service to it. So maybe you pour some of your water and give it a little drink. Maybe you tell it, thank you for being here. I'm so grateful that you were here to brighten my day, to give me a smile. That thing is you, and you are that thing. So you feel compelled to nourish and be of service. And then you peaceably walk further down the road on your way with no attachment to, judgment of, or expectation for any more of an outcome with that particular thing. That's the 5D. So I hope that was of use. I do love explaining things in a way that make them a little bit more practical as opposed to etheric and out there. And I hope that I managed to do that today. My name is Steffi Starr. I am the lead facilitator and founder of an intentional community called The Way Home in South Florida. We are a real thing, a real place. We are also online on YouTube, on Facebook. The website for the work that we do is down in the description. twhic.com will take you to all of the things that we do for those of you speaking your soul language, living authentically as your highest self, to find a community of like minds, to be able to share in the growth and the transformation and the ascension of our human family during this profoundly interesting time in which we all find ourselves. So, as always, you are so seen, you are so loved. Aho.